Okay, so welcome you all once again, and we'll continue our discussion of Bhagavad Gita. And we have been discussing chapter 3 as of now. So we'll continue from there. Let's chant the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.
So we have been discussing chapter 3 and we have covered till text 21, where Krishna is actually trying to make us understand that we need to work for setting an example, right? And the last verse we discussed was yad yad acharati seshto tat tat evataro janah. So whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets, by exemplary all the world pursues. So the point was, Poet Krishna is asking Arjuna to work. Working is better. Even you should work with detachment. And then a question may arise that, okay, if I do not have any desire, anything of material, then why should I work? So Krishna explained to Arjuna that to set a right example in the society, you should work. Right. So till that we have covered, and we'll go next. Even Krishna has given example of Janak Maharaj. That Janak Maharaj actually a very great soul, very much devoted to our Lord, but still he take care of his kingdom. Right? In a similar way, he's asking us also to do our duty with detachment and also to set right examples in the society. So now Krishna is actually, in next couple of verses, Krishna is going to say that even I do not have to do anything in this three world, but still I am doing it just to set a right example for the society. Right? Let's see. Text 22. Name parthasti kartavyum trishu lokeshu kinchana na anavaptam avaptavyam varta eva cha karmani. O son of Pritha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties. So that Krishna is saying that still Krishna himself, by his energy, he takes care of all this material affairs. Even he creates this whole universe by just his energy. So he do not have to perform any kind of activities in this three world, but he is saying still I am engaged. And if you see, you have seen in Srimad Bhagavatam in near last chapters of that, where Narad Muni he comes to Dwarika to see the activities of Krishna, and Krishna is well situated in his activities. He's taking care of his family, at the same time he's taking care of administration and as well, isn't it? So that's how Krishna is teaching that he himself is actually engaging in all these duties just to set a right example. And Lord Krishna he descended here to establish the principles of religion. So he followed the prescribed duties and rules as well. And Krishna is saying that, even in next chapter, in next sloka, Krishna says, I'll read it out. Krishna says, for if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Right. So Krishna is saying that if you do not follow this path, then ordinary people will actually want to follow him, and they will not follow the dharma. So that's why Krishna is following this path as well. And these are all even given in Srimad Bhagavatam too. And Prabhupada actually he quotes from Shvetaswara Upanishad very nicely that how Krishna has not to do any activity in the three planet system. And the verse says that Krishna is told in this 22nd verse, Name parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana. So in this three planet system, I do not have to do anything, even nor I desire anything, or nothing is left for me to obtain, but still I am engaged in my prescribed duty. So that's the second example Krishna is giving. And Prabhupada says, and a purport saying that the Supreme Lord is the controller of all other controllers, and he is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entries are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all the demigods and is supreme director of all the directors. Therefore, he is transcendental to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. So there is no one greater than him, and he is the supreme cause of all causes. He does not possess bodily form like that of an ordinary living entity. There is no difference between his body and his soul. He is absolute. All his senses are transcendental. Any one of his senses can perform the action of any other senses. Therefore, no one is greater than him or equal to him. His potencies are multifarious, and thus his deeds are automatically performed as a natural sequence. So that's how Krishna's performance, he don't have to do any activities here. Just by, it's being said, just by blinking his eyelids, he can destroy the whole universe, right? And even just by glancing, he creates this whole universe as well. So he doesn't have to perform any duties, but still to set right example, he performs. And the question may be asked, right? The question may be asked here, or the people, they might say, okay, Krishna had so many wives, so what to do? Can we do that? Right? And Prabhupada also mentions on the same point, is saying that there are two things, imitation and following. So when you want to imitate Krishna, it's not possible for us to imitate. If you see, even Srimad Bhagavatam explains, and also you all know all as well, though Krishna has 16,108 wives, but he used to give personal time to each of them. He has made a separate palace for each of them, right? And can we do that? Just we can think it out. That's the one context. Other context, Krishna, he could lift Govardhan Hill. Can we do that? Krishna could swallow the forest fire. Can we do that? So no. So we cannot imitate Krishna. However, we can follow his instructions as given in Bhagavad Gita. Right? That's what Prabhupada mentioned, that imitating and following, there are two different things. To imitate Krishna, we are going to fail. Not at all we can reach over there. Right? That's how this in two verses Krishna explains that though I don't have to perform anything, but still I perform these duties. Right? And let me read what Prabhupada verse says. Yeah, Prabhupada already did what Prabhupada is saying in his purport of next verse. So let's go to the next verse first, and then we will see it. Krishna says in 24th verse, if I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings. So if you remember, actually, in chapter 1, Arjuna says this example as well. If I kill the people, there will be Varna Shankara, there will be unwanted progeny and unwanted children. So will become the cause of those things. And now Krishna is saying that if I do not perform my prescribed duties, then I will be the cause of unwanted populations. Right? And hence Krishna says that it will actually destroy the people of all living beings. So that's why I am performing my prescribed duties, though he is not prescribed in this three material world. And Prabhupada mentions that following and imitating are not at the same level. We cannot imitate the Lord by lifting Govardhan Hill, as the Lord did in his childhood. It is impossible for any human. We have to. It's impossible for any human. So we have to follow his instructions, but we may not imitate him at any time. So we imitating Krishna for a common person like us, it's never possible, right? So we have seen in Srimad Bhagavatam session how Krishna has killed so many demons. He has given so many pleasure even by lifting Govardhan hill. The whole Brajavasis were all there, the cows, the cowherd boys, the gopis, the Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, and everyone. And Krishna is giving pleasure to each of them at the same time, right? But we cannot lift Govardhan hill. So what and just we, the people who are just think Krishna in the wrong way, they only talk about Krishna's Ras Leela and Krishna's having so many wives. But if you see logically, Krishna has no desire for anything. He has just done just for fulfilling the desire of the devotees, right? And that Prabhupada mentioned that following and imitation are two different aspects. So that's how Krishna is setting an example that as in Krishna in Dwarika, he has performed all the prescribed duties. He has taken care of his family. He has taken care of the kingdom in and out. So Arjuna, you should also follow your duties to set a right example in the society, right? And the last verse of this section, where Krishna is going to say about how to perform it, right? This is Sakta Karmani Avidvamsha Yatha Kurvanti Bharata Kuryad Vidvams Tatha Shaktash Chikirshur Loka Sangraham. As the ignorant person perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act but without attachment for the sake of leading people on the right path. So the two things being given here. One is the ignorant, one is the learned. So one person who is ignorant, and we also see in that who is ignorant, they are actually attached to the sense gratification, they're attached to the results, they work hard for the results. In the same way, a learned person let him work, and he should work, but with detachment, not to attached with the results of the fruits, right? So that's how this Krishna is saying that as ignorant people who are attached to the results and they work, in the similar way, a learned person should work without attachment or with detachment, right? So this section Krishna concludes saying that work to set a right example. And I'll repeat, Krishna gave example of Janak Maharaj, and Krishna gave example of himself as that there is no duty for Supreme Lord in this material world, but still he engages because anyway, and also we have read in the previous purport, Prabhupada says that Krishna, our senses is like, we cannot eat by our eyes. Eyes are only meant to see. All the senses are actually just they're only to perform one activity. They can't perform any other activity. But Krishna's any senses can perform anything. So as in like when we offer bhoga to Lord, so Krishna, he tests those bhoga by his eyes. So that's how Krishna sees, and that's how Krishna can perform any activities from any of his senses, right? So that's how Krishna, to imitate Krishna, it's kind of making a blunder towards Lord Hari, right? It's an offense towards Krishna to try to imitate him. What we need to do, Prabhupada suggests we need to follow the instructions given by him. So we cannot imitate Krishna, even Krishna's Leela. We cannot imitate Krishna's lifting of Govardhan hill, but we can actually follow his instructions. Man manavo mad bhakto, right? Just engage your mind in me. In that way, actually, we can be his devotees. We can perform his instructions as given in Bhagavad Gita. So the point is, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, it's been mentioned that one should simply follow the instructions of the Lord and his empowered servants. Their instructions are all good for us, and any intelligent person will perform them as instructed. However, one should guard against trying to imitate their actions. it's not just about Krishna, it's about their devotees as well. Like, if you say, for just example, Hardas Thakur. So Hardas Thakur, would chant 3 lakhs holy name every single day. Means, nearly 22 hours he's chanting. It's not possible for us to imitate him. Yeah, we can try, but it's not possible to imitate. And there's a great example given in the Srimad Bhagavatam on the same verse. It says, one should not try to drink the ocean of poison in imitation of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva, Lord Shiva, his great power, he has drank all the poison when the churning of ocean happened. But we cannot imitate Lord Shiva by drinking poison. Even there are so many followers of Lord Shiva, and sometimes we see it, they used to take all this what do you say, drugs, and others saying that, okay, we are following Lord Shiva. But can they drink his poison? It's not possible. So Srimad Bhagavatam says that as we cannot imitate Lord Shiva as he did by drinking poison, so it's not possible for us to imitate these Krishna's empowered servants and Krishna himself. So, but to follow the instructions of Lord, follow the instruction of acharyas, right? So that was the essence of this section. But Krishna says, be in a position to set an example correctly in the society. Right? That's till 25th, and let's go to 26th verse now. Yeah, and again, also one thing we have discussed about the learned and ignorant people. So ignorant people, they have a desire for sense gratification, their own sense enjoyment. In the similar way, they work hard with attachment, thinking that I'll enjoy it. In the similar way, a realized person should work with detachment and work for Krishna. And even in next couple of verses, Krishna is going to say that what to do. I mean, where to give our attachment. So Krishna is saying that, you should give all the results of the fruits to me, to Krishna directly. Right? Let's say it. And there is an important point actually Krishna's made in next 26th verse. He says, so as not to disturb the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sort of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness. This is a very important point actually, that we should not try to instruct the ignorant people to give up their prescribed duties, right? And that can come gradually actually when they are engaged in that, and gradually they will get purified and they will understand it. So Prabhupada says here that the real essence of everything is what? Vedacha sarver eva vedyo. So that is the end of all Vedic rituals. All rituals, all performance of sacrifices, and everything that is put into the Vedas, including all directions for material activities, are meant for understanding Krishna, who is the ultimate goal of life. But because the conditioned souls do not know anything beyond sense gratification, they study the Vedas to that end. But through the fruitive activities and sense gratification regulated by the Vedic rituals, one is gradually elevated to Krishna consciousness. We'll see in detail in chapter 7 these points, like how Krishna says that at least if you are engaged in fruitive activities, you are with regulated principles, with the principles of scriptures, we are at least on the right path. We are not deviated. Someday we'll be on the absolute path. Right. So that's again Prabhupada makes this point here as well, that gradually by these Vedic rituals, one will elevate to Krishna consciousness. Right. And therefore, a realized soul in Krishna consciousness should not disturb others in their activities or understanding. But gradually it happens. So I think we are discussing a couple of days back as well, like how to convince people or how to say people about Krishna, and because when they are the whimsical knowledge and might be half cooked, half baked knowledge. So what we can do is to them, just it's possible, let them hear or chant the holy name, or somehow or other give them Krishna Prasadam. So gradually they'll get purified and they will come on the right path. Right. And next, text 27. Yeah, text 27, where Krishna says, this is very, very important verse actually, where it gives us information about how to understand how things are working, right? Or how the ignorant people think themselves as they are the doer, right? So who is the doer? Basically we can say in a very short, that who is the doer? Am I the doer or someone else is the doer? If you remember earlier we were discussing, and we just briefly understood that doer is not just only we or only I. We are discussing in chapter number 2 that where Krishna says these are actually, there are, the doer is there, the soul is there, and the desire is there, and the approver is there, who is actually working behind it, right? So I desire, and the mother nature actually provides the things, but there is one who fulfills the desire. And we took the example of getting a loan. Sorry, we took an example of, we are trying to build a bungalow, and for that we need money, and we need land, and we need some manpower to do it. So we approached a banker to give us loan. And once he gives a loan to us, once the loan is being sanctioned, the loan is being approved, we can actually go and build the bungalow. But if the loan is not sanctioned, then we are not going to build this house for what we wanted. So the desire is there, we know what to do, but in the middle there is one who is going to sanction it. And in this verse Krishna is saying what these ignorant people think of that. Prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasah ahankar vimuratma karta amiti manyate. The foolish people, what they think? The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So the activity what we do is that actually really is being carried out by the three modes of material nature. The way we are entangled, or where we are entangled with these three modes, the things happens. And this point actually there is a completely, I think in 16th chapter or 15th chapter, 16th chapter, Krishna explains it more. 14 or 16, yeah, there Krishna explains it more, how these three modes act, and how we get, how we associate in our each activity with the three modes, right? This is 14 chapters. So Prabhupada writes in the purport nicely this for this, that he gives the two examples of two persons. Two persons, one is Krishna consciousness and other is material consciousness. Working on the same level, may appear to be working on the same platform, but there is a wide gulf of difference in their respective positions. The person in material consciousness is convinced by false ego that he is the doer of everything. It's like, I have done it, or it's only me by which it can be performed or being done, right? And at the same time, he does not know that the mechanism of the body is produced by material nature, which works under the supervision of Supreme Lord. The materialistic person has no knowledge that ultimately he is under the control of Krishna. So it doesn't seem to be as that we are in control, but we know that we are in control of Krishna. I think we are discussing earlier about how to know that we have a limit, we have a boundary. Like we can send our kids to play in the park. They can play around the park, but they have a limit. They can't cross the park. As soon as they cross the park, the parents will shout, okay, come back in the park. That's how we have a limit to do work on the limit, but that's also being controlled by someone superior, and that's Krishna. And Prabhupada continues from there. The person is false. The person in false ego takes all the credit for doing everything independently. And that is the symptoms of his nascence. So there's the ignorance that he thinks that I am the one who is the doer, right? And he does not know that this gross and a subtle body is creation of material nature under the order of Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as such his bodily and mental activities should be engaged in the service of Krishna, in Krishna consciousness. And then hence the ignorant man forgets for that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Rishikesha, or the master of the senses of the material body, for due to his long misuse of the senses in sense gratification, he is factually bewildered by the false ego, which makes him forget his eternal relationship with Krishna. So what happens? The two persons working, one is in material consciousness. He works under the influence of false ego. So ego, why it's always said as false ego, it means the ego what I am having, that's false. When I say I, but actually I mean the body with the ego. But the real thing is that I am not his body, I am the spirit soul. That's why it's called as false ego. So the person in mental consciousness, he works under the ignorance of false ego, and similarly he thinks himself that I am the only doer, I am the only karta. So everything is actually happening because of me, right? And he takes all the credit of doing everything independently. On the other hand, the one who is in Krishna consciousness, who understands that I am not his body, I am the soul, who understands that there is Supreme One and I am the servant, who understands that there is a relationship between the Supreme Soul or Paramatma or Krishna and I, he is under the influence of Krishna's eternal energy. And that's how he partakes in kind of gratifying God and Lord, that okay, because of him I have got all these things, and by his mercy only I am getting all these things, right? So he doesn't think himself as doer, he thinks he gives credit to God at every time, right? And as Prabhupada mentions here, that Rishikesha, Krishna is his name is Rishikesha, who actually controls all the senses, the master of the senses, and all our senses are also being controlled by Krishna, right? And let's go to next one, 38. And then Krishna is saying that how it happens. Let's see. One who is in the knowledge of absolute. So earlier in the previous verse, Krishna told about the ignorant who thinks himself as a doer, and here Krishna is saying one who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, Almighty Arm, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the difference between the work in devotion and work for fruitful results. So both are working, both people are working, isn't it? A devotee is also working, and the materialistic is also working, but there is a huge difference, as Prabhupada says earlier, and Krishna is saying here as well, that both persons, one is work in devotion and one is work only for fruitful results. There is a difference between that work, right? And that's how so here it being says in the purpose says that the knower of the absolute truth is convinced of his awkward position in material association. He knows that he is a part and parcel of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and that his position should not be in the material creation. So the person who is in knowledge of Krishna, Krishna is saying that the one who is in knowledge of absolute truth, the one who knows about Krishna, the one who knows about his material nature, he understands that he is a part and parcel of Supreme Lord, and his real identity is not to be in this material world, rather back in spiritual world. And how his nature is, he is always eternal bliss and knowledge. And then he realizes that somehow or other he is entrapped in this material conception of life, but in his pure state of existence he is meant to be deploy his activities in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna says here about the difference between one who is working in full-time worker and the working in devotion to the Lord. So both are working, but there is a huge difference. One is working for Krishna and one is working for himself. The one who is working for Krishna, he is moving towards liberation. He is moving towards the service towards Lord. And one who is working for his sense gratification, he is binding himself more in this clutches of three modes. Right. And in the end of the purpose says, according to Srimad Bhagavatam, one who knows the absolute truth in three different features, namely Brahman, Paramatma, and Supreme Personality of Godhead, is called Tattvavid. Because Krishna starts this sloka saying that Tattvavid tu Mahobahu. So Prabhupada mentioned that Tattvavid is what? For he knows also his own factual position in relationship with Supreme. So the one who knows factually to Krishna, he understands the three features of the Lord. So what are the three features? Three features are Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. And so these three features. So Prabhupada many times explains this. How can you understand it? Like a sun globe. So sun globe, it has sun rays. It also has sun globe, you can see, and inside the sun globe there is a personality sitting that we call a sun god, isn't it? So these are three features of sun: sun rays, sun globe itself, or the circumference of the sun globe, and the sun god itself, the third one. So the first one is Brahman. Brahman, basically where we see this Brahma Jyot, which is called as the Krishna's, which emanates the light coming from this Krishna's body, right? That's Brahma Jyoti. And the second aspect where it says about sun as a circumference, or that is Paramatma, which is living in each and every living entity as a Paramatma, which resides within our heart as Paramatma. That's the second feature. And the third feature is the sun god himself. So we have seen sun god pictures, isn't it? Having his 5 horses and sitting in a chariot. That sun god, it's a personality. So the third aspect of Lord is Bhagavan. That is, he has two-handed form as like we, and he resides in Golok Vrindavan. He plays his flute, and he does all his pastimes as we have seen in pastimes of Vrindavan. So three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Right. So the devotees, or who knows this with perfectly, they knows about these three aspects, and from these three, Bhagavan is the topmost. And even Prabhupada gives an example. Even devotees give this example as well. How it happens? Is anything one wrong? Is or half? So it's understood like I've heard it many times from the devotees that in once what happened in one of the village, there comes like a new railway track came there, and these villagers, they haven't seen this railway track earlier. So three friends, maybe you can say, they went to analyze this, what train looks like, but just seen the platform, the train, the road, but they haven't seen train yet. So time was scheduled and the train was about to come. And when the train come, the first one, as soon as he heard the sound, like the train blew a horn, and as soon as he heard this sound or the horn, he actually went back to the village. And then the second one, he waited for more, and then he could see that actually when the train came, he could see there are some coaches as well. And as he see coaches, and he went back. And the third one, he waited for there for a long time, and then he could see that from the coaches, actually the people, they came out from the coaches. So the villagers were waiting there for the three peoples, and then as all three arrived there, they asked the first one what it is. He said, no, train, train means sound. So the second one says, no, not just sound. Sound is there, but there are some coaches as well. There's different coaches. And the third one says, no, that's true, but there is third aspect as well. What is that? That it has sound, that's correct. It has coaches, that's also correct. But the real understanding is that this train, in the coaches, there are people who are actually came out from the coaches, and they can travel from here to there. So in a similar way, Krishna's three features, one is Brahman or Brahma Jyot, that's true, but that's not the ultimate truth. And then second is Paramatma. Yes, there is in every living entity Paramatma. Krishna resides as a Paramatma. Right? That's true as well, but that's not the complete truth. That's a higher level than Brahman as Paramatma, and the higher than that is Bhagavan, who is holding his flute and playing with the cowherd boys in Golok Vrindavan. So these are the high stages of understanding Brahman. So normally what's happened is Jnani, they stay till Brahman, they think that Brahman is the ultimate truth. And then the yogis, they treat Paramatma as the ultimate truth. And the bhaktas, the devotees of the Lord, they understand Bhagavan as the supreme or the absolute truth. So when a devotee understands Bhagavan as the absolute truth, he understands Paramatma's feature as well as Brahman feature. But understanding of only a Brahman feature, it makes difficult to understand Bhagavan feature. Right. So it gradually happens. But when one becomes devotee of the Lord, he understands completely that it is Bhagavan who is actually taking care of every single thing in this creation. Right. So we'll take two more verses maybe. Yeah. Now in text 29, Krishna is saying that bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. But the wise should not unsettle them. Although these duties are inferior due to the although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge. So the ignorant one, who is completely in mode of ignorance, he understands that material activities is the ultimate one, and he engages himself in that, and that's how he becomes too much attached. And but the wise, they go higher and try to understand things as well. Right. So Rupa writes in the purport, he says, the man who are ignorant cannot appreciate activities in Krishna consciousness, and therefore Lord Krishna advises us not to disturb them and simply waste our valuable time. This is actually one of the aparadha, like saying about or describing about law to unfaithful people. Right. And hence there is no point of disturbing them. But the devotees of the Lord are more kind than the Lord because they understand the purpose of the Lord. Consequently, they undertake all kinds of risk, even to the point of approaching ignorant men and trying to engage them in the activities of Krishna consciousness, which are absolutely necessary for the human being. All right. So as Krishna says in this verse, is that because of ignorant only, we are attached to this material activities, to the fruits of activities, towards sense and gratification and enjoyment. When this darkness goes away, darkness can only go away when we have light, and the light of knowledge, right? And by this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, by the knowledge directly coming from Krishna, we can cross that ignorance, and then we can actually become detached to our activity. At the same time, we should be performing our activities. Right. In 30th verse, Krishna says, Mai sarvani karmani sannyas adhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmoha bhutva yuddhasya vigata jvara. So, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight. So, as of now, Krishna is told that be detached, work for, give up your fruits of activities, give up your results of activity. Do not desire for anything. In that way, Krishna has told us of now, and now Krishna is saying that offer this to me. So that's a direct instruction from Krishna to all of us, that we should be offering our results of activities to Lord Krishna directly. Right. So that's the point Krishna is making here. I'll read it again. Krishna says, therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims to proprietorship, and free from lethargy, get up and fight. So offer your results unto me. That's a recommendation from Krishna. And that's basically a kind of bhakti yoga, where you perform your duty, at the same time you offer the results to Lord Sri Krishna. So that's how it recommends, Krishna recommends Arjuna to work exclusively for Krishna. Right. And yeah, if you see, Srimad Bhagavatam also teaches the same thing. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it says that dharmam to sakshat bhagavat pranitam. So what is dharmam? Dharmam is basically where all the religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's all, and Krishna is directly teaching here in 30th verse that work exclusively for Krishna. And at the same time, when we work for Krishna, we can actually teach to others to do the same. And that's how Krishna is asking Arjuna to set right examples in the society so that it will benefit for everyone. And this verse, Krishna is clearly saying, surrender all your works unto me. In what way? With full knowledge of me. So it's not just whimsical, you give things to me. You know, or you understand, you try to understand me, you know me as well. And without desire of profit or loss, and understand that with no claim of proprietorship. Basically, if this point comes from previous understanding, that doer. So the ignorant people, they think themselves that I am the doer, I am the one actually who has done everything. But Krishna is saying that do not claim about any proprietorship, and just be free and fight. Right. So that's Krishna is instructing to Arjuna that be on the consciousness, set right example in society, and work for me. Right. And discharge your duty as if a proper military person. Right. And even act according to your dharma. Your dharma is to fight. You are Kshatriya, and you need to perform your activities, and at the same time discharge all your duties in Krishna consciousness. This for maybe we can take for our own self, and that's going to give us the liberation as well. Right. That's how Krishna is teaching us from text 30. It's very important. Krishna first time actually says, surrender everything unto me. As of now, he was teaching about that, give up things, be a self-realized persons. Even very initially, if you see in chapter 2, Krishna has taught that if you do perform your activities nicely, then as Kshatriya, if you die, you will attain kingdom. You will attain heavenly kingdom, and if you win, you will rule this kingdom. That's basically kind of attractive towards results. But we see in the second section, Krishna says that give up that results. and work with detachment. And now Krishna is claiming back that you should give up it, and whom to give? Surrender to Krishna. So that's the essence. Actually, if you see, these are the kind of essence of Bhagavad Gita, where whatever we perform, we need to perform our activities at the same time in a detached manner. Detached manner means attaching our things to Krishna. That's how we can become detached. Just trying whimsically to become detached from this material world, it might create a lot of problems. But when we attach things to Krishna, it becomes quite easy, isn't it? It's very simple. Like very simple example. Let's every now and then we used to have so many Bollywood and Hollywood songs, and when we hear the song, we get attached to it, and we try to hear it again and again and again and again. But after some time, maybe after a month, or maybe if it's very dear to your song, that it might go for 6 months. But as soon as we hear something new, we forget the old one, and we start getting the higher taste from the newer song, and then gradually we forget the lower one. In the similar way, this material world, right, and we are getting taste from it. But as soon as we start associating with the higher thing, that Krishna consciousness, when we get the test of Krishna consciousness, gradually the test of material consciousness goes away. It gradually happens and it goes away. Krishna takes care of this. We don't have to worry on that, right? So we don't have to be whimsically trying to become detached. Rather, try to become or try to attach ourselves with Krishna within our activities. Like we can say, as soon as we get up, we can gratitude Krishna. Oh Lord Krishna, because of you, I'm alive today. Many people have lived their life in the due course of night, and when we sleep, we do not know actually. One kind of pralaya happens for the night. We do not know anything, and when we get up, so everything is all there. Though it was very quick, so we don't miss out everything. We just, all the things are there in our mind, and then when the main pralaya happens, we forget everything, right? So we can be grateful towards Lord Hari, that because of you I'm alive, right? And then very simple, when we eat food, we can actually offer to Krishna, and then we can have the food. So in the simple way, gradually, if you can take a step towards Krishna consciousness, we can able to attach ourselves to a Krishna, and gradually we will get detached from this material world. In the same way, we can easily surrender everything to Krishna without any doubt, right? So I'll stop here. Anyone have any questions or thought we can discuss?
I just share one thing on the same lines. You were saying about not associating your success with yourself. Always say that it has been, and I have seen that in my, when I changed this thing, that whatever is my success, I started giving a credit to Ramji, that because of him I'm that. I have always seen I'm going up and up, up and up, up and up. Like it's always proceeding in the good direction only, and the satisfaction is always full.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's nice. Okay, so actually, these words can be discussed a bit more as well, but that's okay. We'll see if we can discuss something more on this verse from next week as well. So 3:30, we'll try to come up from 3:30 again on Monday, if it's possible. So where Krishna is actually teaching us to surrender our works to Krishna. For the very first time, Krishna says, "Do it for me." And gradually, that's the essence. And Krishna will teach us that how can we give everything to Krishna. Okay. So thank you everyone for being here tonight, and I think we are going good. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की
जय,
प्रभुपाद की
जय,
अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की
जय।
Yeah.